Okay, what's going on, family? We are back for another episode of Expanding Culture with Kilo. I got a special guest in the building with me, or in the meta space. Diara, how you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm bringing Diara on because she is what I would consider an expert in a space that I'm not super well versed in, but I think is interesting. So I think she would be a good person to tell us all about cannabis and THC and CBD and stuff like that. So it's perfect. But before we get into it, though, you want to give a brief intro, where you're from, what do you do professionally?
Well, my name is Diara. I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and now I currently live in Phoenix, Arizona. And I do a little bit of everything in the cannabis industry. Right now, I'm mainly working with edibles and cultivation.
Edibles and cultivation. What is cultivation? You work growing it yourself, or you work for a company that grows, or how does that work?
I do a little bit of both.
Okay, that's pretty cool. All right. I know sometimes, like, as a SME or subject matter expert, we just like listen to a person speak about what they know a lot about, but we don't really know what else they do. So I wanted to know, like, what other type of hobbies and things are you into? Like, what else do you do for fun or enjoyment?
I like to read, definitely. I like to thrift. I love to spend time with my family. I love comedy, so I love comedy shows and things like that. I like to travel when I can, of course, because COVID. But yeah, I mean, I like to do a little bit of everything. I like to try new things too. So
What type of comedy are you into?
I like stand-up comedy.
Stand up?
Um, yeah,
You got a
I
top
love.
three?
Hmm.
Got a top three?
I don't know if I have a top three, honestly. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. But I would say Dave Chappelle and Cat Williams are up there for
Hi.
me.
Yep. Yep. That's a good top two, even if or top something. That's a good
Cat
one.
Williams is going to be here in February, so I'm really trying to go.
You say Cat Williams will?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So, as far as cannabis goes, a lot of people, it's like it's the culture is big right now, right? Very big. But some people, they just care about it, and as much as they can smoke it, they just want to know if it's legal or not. And even if it's not legal, where can I get the best weed at? But they don't really care too much about the science of it. You seem to know a little bit about the science of THC and cannabis. So what got you into that side of it?
Um, the science of it actually came from my great grandmother. Um, Back in 2013, I ended up getting arrested and going to jail for it. And I ended up moving back home to Ohio. And my great grandma, um, she had cancer. And, she was fishing, asked me what I got arrested for and stuff like that, even though I knew she already knew.
Mm-hmm.
And, I told her, weed. And she was like, well, I heard that it could help me. And I was like, yeah, it can. And she was like, well, I want to try it sometime. Find that out for me. And I had an aunt, she had sickle cell as well. And she said she heard that, could help her with her pain and things like that. So I played around a lot and I didn't do what I said I was going to do. And my, um, actually, 2014, I ended up getting pregnant that summer. And shortly after that, my great grandma, she passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt really, really bad. Like, maybe I could have helped her a little bit if I did my research. You know, Maybe she could have, made it another 6 months and she could have met her great great grandchild.
Mm-hmm.
It was just those things. And so once my son was born, I gave myself a year, and when he was 1, we packed up our little apartment in Liberty, Ohio, and we moved clear across the country with had never having been to Arizona or anything. I chose Arizona because it wasn't recreational at the time, and their medical program was awesome to me. So I got here, and immediately, like the first dispensary that I worked at, I learned so much. I mean, so much.
Mhm.
And so from then on, I've just been in it since 2016.
Nice. Did they have like a training program for you out there?
No, no. As long as you are over 21, you don't have any felonies, and yeah, you're able to work in the US pretty much. You can get a job at a dispensary, and that's, where I started off at.
Mm, nice. So what's the I guess when you got into it, what did you say, like, this is the path I want to get on, this is the dream spot or dream position or dream job, I guess, in cannabis? What was that position, or did you have anything, any goals?
Um, well, I was just, a regular patient consultant, or what, they call bud tender. And I did have a cancer patient. And the first time that he came in, he had a caregiver. He was in a wheelchair, and, he could barely talk. And, the people that I worked with that were teaching me everything that I know, they would get him on regimens, and, give him, new products and things like that. And slowly but surely, so 1 month after I seen him, he was wheeling himself in the chair without his caregiver. Then the next month after that, I saw him in a walker with his caregiver. And he was able to, get up and walk. And he was just so grateful to, my coworkers and things like that, about how they helped him, and, how about cannabis is just, a lifesaver type thing. And like seeing that, gradually happen, it just was like, I really, really love that feeling. So I want to keep doing this. And so I kept doing it, and I pretty much have been in all positions: bud tender, cultivation, edibles, packaging, like delivery, everything. I've done marketing. So
So is the goal to get a growing license, your own grower's license?
um, I'm not sure yet.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Because the cannabis industry, as popular as it is, it's still extremely new. So there's jobs being created for it every single day. And, right now I am pretty happy with the edibles and the cultivation. I would like my own edible company. That right now is a goal for me. And I would like to have my own product for that. So that's just my personal focus right now.
I like that. When you say the edible company, right, in Arizona, what type of barriers do you have to get into something like that, like starting an edible company?
Money.
Money is the big one. That's what I hear everywhere, but I didn't know how
Money.
Arizona was.
It's just expensive. Honestly, anywhere else is expensive too. I mean, it's expensive to get into, especially, I guess by yourself.
Mhm.
If I had people to help, people that were on board, then I think we could really make something happen. But I don't know anybody
When you
that
say,
wants to do everything that I am
yeah,
trying to get done.
I just wanted to know this real quick. When you talked about the guy who was started out in a wheelchair and then he gradually got stronger, he was able to get up and move around a lot better on his own. What is THC, or what is the healing property? Because what I thought that THC helped with mostly was pain management, but does it have like other healing properties or what? Or not this, I don't know how to ask that.
So THC is just the psychoactive effects that you get.
Right.
It's everything else, CBD, CBN, CBG, those types of things that help aid in managing your pain.
Okay. And is that what, so while you dull the pain, then you're able to work through physical therapy? Is that how it works? Or easier?
For some people, for me personally, it is THC, because the THC, I guess you can say it takes your mind off of the pain, while the other cannabinoids, work to manage the pain, if that makes sense.
Right. I get it. Okay, now, the question is, what is your stance on the federal legalization of THC, right? Is that even a thing that you ever have to think about, or are you just worried about the state you're in right now?
You know, I think that it's close. But I don't know if it is actually something that I want as a person in the cannabis industry. Just because, in my opinion, when the government gets a hold of things, it kind of turns to shit.
Yeah.
So it's almost like I kind of want to, preserve the how organic everything is now, even, with the cannabis industry just popping off,
Mhm.
I don't want a bunch of, me personally, I don't want a bunch of other factors in it, because it's already hard enough to get in it,
Right.
state by state. And
Mm.
I just think federally, yeah, it would make a lot of people happy and a lot of people will have access to it, but that's honestly a tricky one, especially if the quality goes down of the medicine. It's just, I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't know.
I got you. Do you
I don't want to say the wrong thing.
being in it though, is there like rumors as to what's taking the federal government so long, or do you guys not even talk about it?
No, we don't really talk about it. We
You don't talk
just,
about it.
mind the weed that we have now.
Mm-hmm. Now, tell me how am I supposed to say this? I would just say like cannabinoid. How do you pronounce that word? Is it
People say
cannabinoid?
cannabinoid. I
Cannabinoid?
say cannabinoid.
Okay. What is a cannabinoid?
Just the components of the cannabis plant, like CBD, THC, CBN, CBG,
Mm-hmm.
those types of things.
I'm guessing there's a lot of them.
Yeah, and there's still some that are not even discovered yet. They are still, working on everything. So since I've been in the cannabis industry since 2016, I think about 2018 is when I first heard of CBN and CBG. So, they're
And
still coming.
do all the plants have the same chemicals? Like all of them have the same cannabinoids? or is it different plants with different chemicals in them?
Um, they're gonna have the same, maybe different levels.
Mhm.
Um, that's about it. Just maybe different levels.
Oh, so it's pretty much okay. So then what makes, so when people call some weed good and some weed not good, what are they actually talking about then?
um, Most people are probably talking about the THC content, about how high they are.
Mhm.
But that's, like I said before, that is all THC is. It's just a psychoactive effect. But the actual feeling that you get comes from terpenes. So terpenes are like the essential oils of the plants. So you know how you would have lavender, and something in lavender is very calming. That same thing that's very calming in lavender is the same thing that's very calming in cannabis.
Mhm.
Um, the same thing with like citrus. Like citrus has a terpene that generally brightens you up and gives you a little bit of energy. That same thing would be in a cannabis plant, and that would be the strain that gives you a little bit of energy. Like I said, they're called terpenes, like the essential oils of the plant.
Mhm.
That's how I like to think of it as. There's a lot of them. It also gives it the smell. So I don't know if you've ever been to a dispensary, but they say your nose knows.
Yeah.
And, there are different types of smell, whether it's gassy, whether it's floral, sweet, cheesy, musky, piney, the terpenes also um, determine that as well,
Hmm.
which a lot of the names come from too.
Is that now is the terpene what makes the difference mainly between from
The
plant to
terpene
plant?
is what gives you the effect.
Okay.
So, say you have an indica, there's a terpene in an indica strain that's going to be very relaxing for you. It's going to be, that anti-inflammatory, all that type of stuff. And it's just going to do that. It's just going to relax you. That is the body effect that it has on you. And then the THC is just the psychoactive effect, the highness.
Okay. Wow, man.
There's a lot of information, I
No. I
know.
get it because I ask questions about like THC, CBD, but I didn't even think about include terpene questions because really I didn't even know what it was. I heard the name, I heard of it, but I didn't know what it
Mhm.
was. So when you bring up like indica, right? I hear people talk about indica versus sativa all the time, right? But
Mhm.
does that same what they say about those chemicals, or I don't even know classifications, does that carry over to edibles too? Like is some I never heard anybody say this is an indica gummy. Is that the same?
So when you ingest cannabis, it's a completely different feeling from when you are just smoking it.
Right.
Um, so smoking is more of just a head high. It does give you, especially if you're smoking an indica, it does give you a nice body high. But um, edibles, they are, one, they're very strong because it goes through your liver. And two, it's a complete body high. And usually, if you have a hybrid or an indica edible, it's just pretty much gonna make you sleepy. Um, Sometimes, depending on your body makeup, you can have a sativa edible and it'll make you sleepy. Um, Sometimes, if I have too many sativa edibles, like too much, it'll make me sleepy. Um, so I tell everybody, just make sure you don't have anything to do if you are trying edibles or taking edibles, whether they are indica, sativa, or hybrid.
Mhm. That's interesting. Yeah, I just never heard anybody, and you hear people talk about gummies all the time, but you never hear them say indica gummies though, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they have them. A lot of them are hybrid, but there are companies that, specify whether it's sativa or indica, which it does help some people. There are certain sativa gummies that I do get. They help me, especially during the daytime. Um, yeah, but I usually take them at night because I need to sleep and I don't get much sleep.
Mm. Yeah, man, that gummy game is
Edibles.
scary, man. That gummy game is scary. My tolerance is like, man, if you could think about whatever the low, whoever you ever seen with the lowest tolerance for any type of cannabis, anything, that's me. Like 2 days, I'm cooked off a CBD gummy, zero 0.3
Oh my
milligrams of
gosh.
THC. That's like I don't know how my tolerance could be that terrible. Like I cannot handle weed, man, at all.
It's well, okay. So usually when we start off a patient, if they are new to edibles for the first time and they want to try it, we start them off with like 5 to 10 milligrams. 5 to 10 milligrams is a good place to start off for someone who's new. For somebody who's more experienced, they could do, 50 to 75 to, get them where they need to be, that therapeutic high that they need to be. But on average, it's usually about 5 to 10 milligrams for someone new to start off. So is it for you? Is it less than 5?
I'm telling you, zero 0.3 in the CBD gummy. This is what I would, because I'm about to get in
Oh,
Delta 8, right? I because I have like severe back issues, like severe. I need a new back. That's how bad my back is. For real. But I'm waiting for Tesla to come out with the backs, right? Anyway, my back is terrible. I need a spinal fusion, all this type of stuff. But I've been trying to get into it, but I found out about these Delta 8 gummies that's supposedly legal everywhere, and because they are different than Delta 9. So I can only take one gummy a week. That's how I am.
a week?
A week. I take one gummy a week on like Friday night before I go to bed. And like that's not to say it helps with my pain for a whole week. It's because I'll be high for if I keep like let's say I take it daily with the pain, I wouldn't be able to function like that because I'll be high.
Oh,
So I
wow.
don't know I don't know what it is when it comes to me and like any type of THC product or cannabis product. It affects me way more. But can you tell
Alpha
us
Delta
like
8?
what? Huh?
Alpha Delta 8?
Off of Delta 8, man. Can you tell us the difference between like Delta 8 and Delta 9 though?
So
THC?
Delta 9 is basically like, regular THC content, and Delta 8 is the same, but it has significantly less THC content, probably about 50% less, which is probably, why it's legal. So there's THC in it, but not as much.
Is Delta 8 one of those things that like it's legal only because the government like doesn't have any guidance on it? Or is it something that the government actually has guidance for and they just actively said, all right, y'all can use this?
I think it's the former.
Okay, because I never heard of it before. Like they told me, hey, we got these new things. And that was like
Mm-hmm.
8 months ago. They was like, yo, we can sell these everywhere now. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Actually, we just well, when I discovered Delta 8, it was in 2019.
Hmm.
We had gotten a new product in from one of my favorite edible companies, and the doctor that we worked up under, she explained the product to us, and what Delta 8 is and everything, and you know, I tried it. It was a tincture actually. I tried it and I didn't feel anything, and but the second time I tried it, I did try a little more, and it gave me, since my tolerance is very high, it gave me more of a euphoric feeling than just being out of my mind high. And that's
Hmm.
what it's supposed to, give you. But for people who don't smoke or, partake like that, especially recreationally, like yourself, I could totally understand how it would have you all
fried. Fried. I'm like, what? One day I messed around and took the Delta 8 with this other CBD gummy I had. And I'm like, so these, when you mix these, they really activate each other. And I didn't even think about that. Like,
the entourage effect.
yeah, I think you did tell me about that before. The entourage effect. They really, it's like, because I think you were telling me that they work together, and then we have some natural of these chemicals that bind with these cannabinoids, or they work together in us already.
Yeah, we already have an endo cannabinoid system in our bodies. And so the entourage effect is when, so you have CBD, you have THC, and sometimes when people say, well, which is better, CBD or THC? And, it's not necessarily an answer. It's just, honestly, they work best together. The whole thing works best together. We have isolated CBD because, some people get drug tested for work. So when you make like a full spectrum or a broad spectrum, meaning that the CBD gummy is made with the whole cannabis plant, and there's that legal 0.3 percent of THC in it. It's just that.
Yeah, man. I want to use it more to manage the pain, but I just got to figure out like the tolerance thing for me. I have no idea why it's like that. Because like with alcohol, I never had that problem. You know what I'm saying? When I was, even though they're not the same at all, and maybe my family is more genetically inclined to drink alcohol. That's probably what it is, genetics thing. Because I mean, I could get crazy with alcohol when I was a young teenager, But THC, like, I don't care what I have done, pills, everything. THC is gonna put me down, have me feeling like a robot for like at least 25 hours, for sure.
Jeez.
I don't know what it is.
The RSO.
Yes.
Do you still have any of that?
No, I gave it to Zeke. Put me that one. You told me put one thing in the size of a hole on a cracker. I did that. I was like, I can't do this. after I was not high no more, right? I was like, I won't be able to function at all if I ever take this. So I'm like, but the feeling though, I felt less robotic. It's weird. I don't even know how to describe it, but I felt less weird when I took it. But it's still, I could just tell how powerful it was.
So RSO, it stands for Rick Simpson Oil. Rick Simpson, he is obviously the creator of RSO, and he invented it because he had skin cancer. So he used it as a topical. So I'm wondering, I'm not sure if your pain is, I'm not sure, how deep your pain is, but maybe you should try it as a topical.
The pain is coming from the spine bones themselves being rubbing up against each other, and it's ridiculous. One of the discs has no more fluid at all. Another one bulging, like it's just ridiculous. But I might get back into it though. I'm running out of gummies right now. I was gonna hit you up and order another one of them things. You like to make edibles? Like, what's your specialty?
Or anything really. I love baked goods and things like that, like sweets and stuff, just because I'm not really a candy person. So I like to make brownies, cookies. I like to make drinks, literally everything. Bubble gum, convenience. So
right,
everything.
Do you see a lot of Black business owners in that space out there where you live?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, I do.
I didn't even know there was a lot of Black people out there, first of all.
The Black business community in Phoenix is awesome, actually. And they're very, very supportive. My mom, she actually runs a wellness center here. So she networks with a lot of Black businesses. She has, I mean, people who make incense, acupuncture, just everything. People who make teas, realtors. I mean, whatever Black business that you're looking for, there's somebody here in Phoenix that is really doing it. I mean, it's big.
So how hard would you say it was for a Black person to get in the cannabis business? Or does it not feel like a barrier based on race? It just feels class based.
I think a little bit of both. For breaking like into the cannabis industry, like, you know, entry level positions, you know, honestly, I don't really, it's based on your knowledge, your experience, and, you know, that type of thing. But once you get into the space where you want to be bigger than that, or bigger than just a bud tender or receptionist, or, you know, if you want to start your own cannabis company of some sort, whether it's cultivation, a dispensary, an edible company, then is where I think that, you know, race plays a big factor, because they do have to, as far as I know, they have a certain amount of minorities they approve applications for. So if that makes sense.
Is that a quota on the, meaning a minimum quota? Or are they saying this is the number of applications we have for minorities, and that's the cap?
Yes, that's from my understanding, that's what it is.
What the hell? Okay, that sounds crazy, but I don't know too
Yeah.
much about it, so I'm not going to dig too much into it. But Arizona fixed that. That sounds kind of
I
crazy.
mean, but that's everywhere. Even when I worked
Yeah,
at a dispensary in Ohio,
for
I
real.
thought I was working for a Black owned dispensary until, you know, they explained to me, well,
Or they had to use
the
somebody else's
face is
license.
Black people, but, you know, the actual money investing, those are not Black people.
I heard
And
about that.
yeah, so it so I think it is a little bit of, you know, both, as far as, you know.
I heard they had like a few licenses out there, and everybody else is just working under those people.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. In
That's kind of
Ohio, yeah,
that's
there
kind
aren't
of
very many
crazy.
dispensaries there.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, I do not like Ohio's medical program. It's informative, but it's a whole bunch of stuff for no reason. Like it's a bunch of extra stuff. I feel like, you know, I think that Ohio, personally, they should work on their medical program.
Who has the older medical program out of Arizona and Ohio?
Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Arizona, definitely. Ohio, they just went medical in 2016.
Okay.
In Arizona, I think they have been medical, I want to say since 2010 or 13. One of those, somewhere around there. But it was a couple years.
Yeah. Okay. So I only got a couple more questions for you. Now, I want to know what type of benefits, let's say you're a person with no pain, like you don't have any physical bodily pain. Is there any type of beneficial reasons why THC might be good, or cannabis might be good for me? What can it help with? Anything like that?
Yeah. Anxiety, depression, definitely. Most definitely. I'm not, I don't want to say it's painful, but I don't want to take anything away from anybody who may experience, pain with that condition. But, people will have anorexia and they'll come in for cannabis. There's, you know, you don't necessarily have to be in pain
Right.
to reap the benefits of cannabis. I mean, you can just, even if you're just smoking to feel good, you are healing yourself.
Yeah. And is cannabis one of those things?
Unless you do it with tobacco, then that defeats the purpose, in my opinion.
Yeah. Do you still work in the medical, or are you on the recreation side now?
Well, the way Arizona's program is set up, well, recreational program, it's both in the same thing. So when you walk into a dispensary, you're either going to give them your medical card if you're a medical patient, and if it's a recreational patient, then you're going to give them your ID, and we'll know which is which, and the systems and the things like that. So
the excuse me, man, what was I about to ask you? Do you work? I said, do you work? Oh, is weed one of those things that you'll say, okay, I have this condition or ailment, I'm gonna take weed for 6 months and then I'm off? Or is it one of those things that they kind of just put people on and you can continue renewing your prescription, or how does that work?
as a medical patient,
If you're a medical patient, do they give you a term of use, or once you get your medical card, you just have it and you can use it for?
Okay, so it used to be a year. You get your medical card, and it's good for a year, but in 2019, they made it good for 2 years. So it really helps us out that you don't have to go every year and pay as much money as we do for it. But
I know.
it's
Did you watch the show Dope Sick on Hulu? Oh, okay. It's a wild show. So I was going to ask you something, because the Sackler family, I know they hate THC, because THC is doing everything that they wanted to do, or the cannabis industry is doing everything they wanted to do with OxyContin.
Oh, sheesh.
Yeah, no, they were seriously putting everybody on it. But I don't really have nothing else, man. What's the name of the edible business? We want to shout it out. We want to put some edibles in the air through the Underground Railroad. You know what I'm saying? We selling them, all that good stuff. What's the name? Do you have a name?
Yeah, my Instagram for my edible page is Butterballs Eats on IG.
Butterball Eats.
Yes.
Nice. And you specialize in baked goods.
Yeah, if you can eat it, I can make it. I do special requests and all of that. Meals as well, drinks. I do candy. I just don't eat it.
That's good, man. I appreciate you for coming on. As everybody can tell, you are like if anybody had to think about what does a weed head sound like, are you so mellow, laid back? You're like, yeah, I think so. So that's perfect. Like it wouldn't make sense if you was all turned up and crazy acting. This is a good idea of, like, if you get you some gummies, or if you get you an edible brownie, you can mellow out like Diara, and everything goes smooth.
Just find a good show to watch and zone out.
Yeah. And watch Dope Sick. Dope Sick will make you mad. But I appreciate you for coming on with me, man. Y'all make sure y'all go follow her Instagram page for her edibles, because I actually did see a review about your product on Twitter, and it said it's serious. It's like that.
Oh, for sure.
It's like that. So definitely order some Butterball Eats. Or I mean, don't order. Follow the page and then DM her whatever type of inquiries you may have. We'll say it like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, man.
Nothing is for sale.
Yeah, nothing.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. Peace out.
Bye-bye.